Well, let's see. This is time for chapter 11 of Rubyfruit Jungle. I have to read it again, unfortunately. I don't know what the heck happened to the original chapter. I'm sorry that all the sound disappeared. I'm gonna leave it up, but have it private, sort of, so if you already, favorited it because it sucked and it was funny, you could still watch it, but it won't really appear in your news feeds at all. So here is chapter 11. Mother was sitting in her green stuffed rocking chair when I walked through the door. You can turn around and walk right out. I know everything that went on up there. The Dean of Women called me up. You just turn your ass around and get out. Mom, you only know what they told you. I know that you let your ass run away with your head, that's what I know. A queer. I raised a queer, that's what I know. You're lower than them dirty fruit pickers in the groves, you know that? Mom, you don't understand anything. Why don't you let me tell my side of it? I don't want to hear nothing you can say. You always were a bad one. You never obeyed nobody's rules. Mine, the school's, and now you go defying God's rules. Go on and get out of here. I don't want you. Why the hell you even bother to come back here? Because you're the only family I got. Where else am I gonna go? That's your problem, smart pants. You'll have no friends and you got no family. Let's see how far you get, you little snot nose. You thought you'd go to college and be better than me? You thought you'd go mix with the rich? And you still think you're dandy, don't you? Even being a stinking queer don't shake you none. I can see conceit writ all over your face. Well, I hope I live to see the day you put your tail between your legs. I'll laugh right in your face. Then you'd better live to see me dead. I picked up my suitcase by the door and walked out into the cool night air. I had $14.61 in my pocket. That's what was left over from Faye's money and the remains of mine after the bus ticket. That wouldn't get me half to New York City, and that's where I was going. There are so many queers in New York that one more wouldn't rock the boat. I walked down Northeast 14th Street to Route 1, and there I parked my suitcase on the ground and stuck out my thumb. Nobody seemed to notice me. I was beginning to think I'd have to walk to New York when a station wagon with Georgia plates pulled up. A man, woman, and child sat inside looking me over. The woman motioned for me to hop in. She started right up. My husband thought you must be some stranded college student. Came on down here for a break and your money run out, did it? Yes, ma'am, that's exactly what happened, and you know I couldn't tell my parents I was down here. They'd have fits. The man chuckled. Kids. Where do you go to school? Oh, I go to Barnard up in New York City. Oh, you do have a long way to go, the woman said. Yes, ma'am, and I bet you all aren't going up that far, are you? No, but we're headed as far as Statesboro, Georgia, she laughed. You got spunk hitching, her husband admired. I've never seen a girl hitch before. Maybe you've never seen a girl broke before. They both roared and agreed that the days of flaming youth were back in style. They were nice people, homey, suburban, and boring, but nice all the same. They warned me not to get in a car with more than one man in it, and to try to hold out for a car with a woman passenger. When they left me off at the Gulf Station in Statesboro, the man gave me a $10 bill and wished me luck. They waved goodbye as they drove off into the sunset of the nuclear family. I took up under an aging tree drenched in Spanish moss. After 3 or more hours, a car finally pulled over. The driver was near my age, clean-cut and alone. Well, if he tries anything, I have a fighting chance. Hi, how far are you going? All the way to New York City. Come on in, you hit the jackpot. I'm going to Boston. I slung myself into the low Corvette and prayed he wasn't recently released from a mental institution. Maybe he should be praying. I was the one just out of protective custody. My name is Ralph. What's yours? Molly Bolt. Hi, Molly. Hi, Ralph. How come you're hitching? That's dangerous, you know that? Yeah, I know that, but I didn't exactly have a fat choice. I launched into my rap about running out of money. Ralph was short, muscular, and had blonde, curly hair. He went to MIT and majored in nuclear physics. He was a friendly young man and interested in me, but too polite to lunge. I had latched onto a lucky ride. All I had to do was talk, keep him entertained, and take a turn at the wheel. He was in a hurry to get back, so we skipped a potentially gruesome motel scene. The glove compartment was crammed with decks, so there was no danger of flaking out. We talked nonstop all the way up the eastern seaboard. Finally, I understood the quantum theory, and Ralph understood the rise of Joseph Stalin. At last, when we came through the Holland Tunnel, I understood that there never was a city like New York. I was coming into a foreign land without one friend and very little money. "Molly, let me drive you to your door. I don't mind at all." "Thanks, but I'd like to walk around a little. Sounds corny, but I really want to do it. Why don't you leave me in Washington Square?" I had read somewhere in some trashy book that the square was the hub of the village, and the village was the hub of homosexuality. Ralph dropped me right in front of the arch. He gave me his address, a kiss, and a cheery goodbye, and drove off in a puff of carbon gas. I had to fight back an urge to call him back and tell him I didn't know one damn thing about this monstrous city, and why not switch schools to New York and be my friend. The temperature was in the 30s, and all I had was a thin jacket with a crew neck sweater on underneath, plus $24.61 in my pocket. The square was not teeming with flashy gay people as I had hoped. I started up Fifth Avenue and tried not to cry. Faces were coming at me in all directions, and I didn't know one of them. People were pushing and hurrying, and no one smiled, not even a little grin. This wasn't a city, it was some branch of hell, the hanging gardens of neon burning into my skull. Hell or not, there was no place for me to go, so this would be my place. I got as far as 14th Street. The mad shoppers rushing for Mays and Klein's nearly trampled me. I turned around to go back to the square. At least it was quieter there. It was getting late and an acid drizzle was coming down. Already I could feel the pollution caking in my nostrils and my eyes burning from the fumes. Hunger hit like a semi since the decks wore off, but I was afraid to spend any money on food. I knew I couldn't spend any on a room either. It looked as though I was going to curl up in the fountain in the park and freeze to death. My hands had begun to crack and bleed from carrying my suitcase in the cold. My toes were ice cubes. I didn't have any socks. Who wears socks in Florida? The square was deserted save for a few couples strolling through and a drunk down by the chess tables. Now what the flying hell am I going to do? I turned toward New York University and studied the buildings, dimly perceiving there was some type of institution. Maybe I can sneak in there and sleep. I went to the main entrance, but it was locked. Then I trotted around to a side entrance on University Place. That door was locked, too. Well, I could run around the block all night to keep warm. As I turned, I noticed a wrecked Hudson car. Faded red and black, crumpled up in front with all the tires robbed from its wheels. It slumped in front of the chock full of nuts. It looked beautiful to me, and it was home. I went over to crawl in the back seat, only to find it was occupied, but the front seat was empty, and the steering wheel was busted so it wouldn't get in the way. I opened the door and slid in. The young man in the back seat lifted his hat off his head with a flourish. "Good evening, madam. Are you going to share these accommodations with me?" "If it's okay with you, I am." "It's okay with me." He tipped his hat back over his eyes, pulled his heavy coat over his shoulders, and fell asleep. The next morning I woke up with him leaning over the front seat poking me. "Hey babe, come on, we gotta get out of here. Time to hustle." I sat up and looked at him in the light. He had the longest eyelashes I had ever seen on anyone. His skin was the color of coffee after you put the cream in, and his eyes were clear, deep brown. He had a bristling happy mustache over a full, red mouth. In short, this guy was gorgeous. I was trying to remember where I was and trying to find out if my limbs had dropped off from frostbite. "Come on, grab your suitcase and let's go to Chockfull. There's a sister in there who will feed us for free. Up!" Knots of sleepy students were rushing to make their 9 o'clock class. The revolving door to Chockfull was spinning like a top, and I was so tired I went around twice before I could get myself out. We sat at a counter toward the back, and a waitress in a blue uniform served us coffee and donuts. She wrote out a make-believe slip and winked at my roommate. "Got yourself a new girlfriend, Calvin?" "Not me. I don't go in for girlfriends." He winked back at her. I looked at him with grateful eyes. "You gay?" "Oh, I wouldn't say I was gay. I'd just say I was enchanted." "Me too." He breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. "Right on. I was afraid you'd beat some straight chick up here for an abortion, something like that. Then I'd have to take care of you." "Why? Do you usually take care of the results of unchecked heterosexuality?" "Every now and then." "You're not doing such a good job of taking care of yourself if you're sleeping in that car." "Saves rent. Actually, you were lucky to find me at home last night. I usually sleep at the house of whoever I go home with. You get breakfast that way, too. But you'd better not plan on that. Lesbians don't pick each other up on the street. I know a couple bars we can try out tonight and maybe you'll get lucky. You shouldn't have trouble. You're good-looking and young, two priceless attributes. If it's all the same to you, I think I'll pass that by. Oh, I know. You only do it for love. Well. Do you want to keep sleeping in that car and freeze your ass? No? Then you'd better hustle a little, sweetheart. He gave me a pinch on the elbow. The rest of that day, Calvin showed me the subway systems, how the city was laid out, and how to steal food from supermarkets, delicatessens, and even hot dog vendors on the street. We walked all through the village, and he introduced me to the street people, well-dressed numbers runners, hookers, and a few pushers here and there. I liked them. They were the only people who smiled at me. Molly, you got any money? $24.61. If you aren't gonna hook, babe, you ain't getting no apartment on that dust pile. Now, I happen to know how you can make a simple $100 in a half hour, and you don't have to fuck or even take your clothes off. Can you dig that? Tell me the deal first. There's this guy, Ronnie Rappaport, the grapefruit freak. This cat gets his kicks out of being blasted with grapefruits. Come on, Calvin. No shit, that's how he does his thing. All you gotta do is go up to his apartment and throw grapefruits at him, and he'll pay you $100 in cash. See, part of his thing is he has to have a new person do it every time. Too bad, because I'd be up there every night throwing yellow curves at him. How can he afford it? They say his old man owns a big department store somewhere out in Queens. Who knows? You ready? Ready-o. Did your cheerleaders do that too? I think everybody's does. Were you a cheerleader? Nah, I just dated one. Oh wow, I used to date a football player. Well, we're just all American queers. Calvin laughed and danced his way over to a red phone booth filled with the day's collection of papers, cigarette butts, and fresh urine. He called Ronnie and the deal was set. Tonight was fine with him. Old Ronnie was practically coming over the phone when I told him you were 18, sweet, and all that good shit. Great, maybe he'll give me a bonus for my age. Too bad he's a man. Too bad for you, I mean. Maybe if it were a woman, you get a little buzz off it. You know what I mean. I don't think Greta Garbo would give me a buzz if I had to pelt her with citrus. Ronnie had a huge duplex on Hudson. Skylights covered the ceiling, and the furniture was stainless steel chrome expensive. By looking at him, you couldn't tell he was into grapefruit. He didn't wear any fruit symbols around his neck or have embroidered seeds on his shirt. He shook my hand and took me into the next room. Calvin waited in the big living room in 8 pairs. I entered another huge room that looked like a photographer's studio, except that it was completely bare except for an enormous pile of grapefruit piled on top of one another like cannonballs. Ronnie took his clothes off. He was well muscled with a patch of curling hair between his breasts. He walked over to the end of the room and stood there quivering. I waited for Carmen Miranda to burst through the door in a giant banana hat. Seeing my hesitation, he said in a gentle voice, "Okay, honey, I'm ready." So I picked up a grapefruit and threw it at him. Shit, I missed. It splattered against the wall. This is going to be harder than I thought. I picked up another one and carefully took aim. Squish! I got him square in the middle. He squealed with delight and got a hard-on. This isn't so bad. I like throwing things. By now I was into hitting Ronnie. I aimed for his cock. Bullseye. He loved it. I aimed for his left shoulder. Only grazed him. I started firing grapefruits like Stonewall Jackson's artillery at men and asses. Blam, splat, blat. Ronnie howled like a wounded dog, and I threw the grapefruits even harder, concentrating on his thighs and pulp-covered prick. I was down to the last round of grape shot and began to worry that maybe I'd need more to finish him off. Ronnie knew himself very well, because as I picked up one of the remaining 4 grapefruit, he came in an arc of sticky liquid and collapsed on the floor, a lump of spent pleasure. I felt as though I had single-handedly won the battle of the bulge. I went over to pick him up. "Molly, you have a wonderful arm." Covered in pink and white pulp, he whispered of the delights of my accuracy. Too bad I don't like grapefruit, or I would have licked it off him. I was so hungry. "You okay, Ronnie?" "Fabulous. I'm simply fabulous." I'm glad to hear that. If you don't need me further, I think I'll roll on." "Oh, of course. Let me give you the money. It was worth every penny. Last person I had with an arm like that throws for the Mets." He got up and walked into the next room where Calvin had wiped out the entire bowl of pears. Ronnie handed me $20 bills, 5 of them, new. "Calvin, thank you for bringing me this, love. She was too perfect. Come back sometime, Molly. I can't do it twice with the same person, but come back and talk to me. You look like a nice kid." When we hit the street, the cold seemed twice as bad, probably because I was so hungry. You ate all the fruit, pig. I'm starving. Where can we go eat where they won't take all my hard-earned cash? I know where we can eat for free. Come on. We went to the finale. Turns out Calvin used to have a thing there with the waiter, so he slipped us steak. My stomach had shrunk so much that I couldn't eat but half of it. We put the rest in a doggy bag and returned to the cold. I'm not ready to go back to the car and freeze. Let's go to that bar you were telling me about. We went over to 8th Avenue and turned in at a quiet-looking place with a black and white striped awning. Inside, the room was packed with women in a straight john here and there. We pushed our way to the bar. 2 Harvey Wallbangers, Calvin yelled. Is it okay if we spend some of your loot? Sure, you got me the job, so you ought to have part of it. No, thanks. All I want is a drink or two, then I have to go out and hustle for a place to stay tonight. Too damn cold in that car. First, let's see if we can get you set up. Who knows, maybe some lady will be kind and put you up without having you put out. Oh, here comes a bull and she's heading straight for you. Christ, go to bed with her and she'll crush you. Sure enough, this diesel dyke barrels down on me, slams on her brakes, and bellows. Hi there, my name is Mighty Mo. You must be new around here. I've never seen your face before. Yes, ma'am, I'm new. God, the Mo must stand for moron. Ma'am? Why, honey, you must all be from down the south. Ha ha. If she weren't so damn big, I'd belt her one right now. Yankees are compelled by some mysterious force to imitate southern accents, and they're so damn dumb they don't know the difference between a Tennessee drawl and a Charleston clip. Yes, I'm from Florida. You must be crazy. Why did you ever leave that sunshine to come up here to this cold witch's tit? More laughter. Guess I like cold witch's tits. She thought that was a witty reply, and nearly knocked me over with a belly laugh. That's a good one. Speaking of tits, sugar, are you butch or femme? I looked at Calvin, but there wasn't time for him to give me a clue for this one. I beg your pardon? Now don't be coy with Mighty Mo, you southern belle. They have butches and femmes down below the Mason-Dixon line, don't they? You're a looker, baby, and I'd like to get to know you. But if you're butch, then it would be like holding hands with your brother, now wouldn't it? You're tough luck, Mo. Sorry. Sorry, my ass. Thank God she spilled the beans. You sure fooled me. I thought you were femme. What's this world coming to when you can't tell the butches from the femmes? Ha ha. She slapped me on the back fraternally and sauntered off. What the flying fuck is this? A lot of these chicks divide up into butch and femme, male-female. Some people don't, but this bar is into heavy rolls and is the only bar I know for women. I thought you knew about that stuff, or I wouldn't have sprung it on you. That's the craziest, dumbass thing I ever heard tell of. What's the point of being a lesbian if a woman is going to look and act like an imitation man? Hell, if I want a man, I'll get the real thing, not one of these chippies. I mean, Calvin, the whole point of being gay is because you love women. You don't like men that look like women, do you? Oh, me, I'm not picky as long as he has a big cock. I'm a bit of a size queen. God damn it, I'm neither one. Now what the fuck do I do? Since you're here, you'd better choose sides for a warm bed. Shit. Ah, come on. It's not that bad for one night. It seems to me that if I say I'm femme, then the mighty moes of the world will descend upon me. But if I say I'm butch, then I have to pay for the drinks. Either way, I get screwed. The human condition. Oh no, here comes another one. Well, she looks like a woman, so that's a point in her favor. She also looks like a good 40 if she's a day and totally wasted. Damn, son of a bitch. Hell. I can't hack this. Come on, Calvin, let's split. Back on the street again, I felt myself getting used to the city. Look, I'm going back to the car. You go on and pick up a trick. Don't worry about me. It's too cold for rapists to be roaming the streets. Anyway, at least they won't ask me if I'm butch or femme. Nah, I don't feel much like hustling anyway. I think I got the clap. Let's go on back to the car. Tomorrow morning I'll find an apartment and we can both live there. No more cars, okay? That night it was so cold I took the few clothes out of my suitcase and covered Calvin and myself with them, but it didn't work very well. We finally gave up on sleep and huddled together in the back seat waiting for the sun to come up and Chockfull to open so we could warm our guts on hot coffee. Calvin, how come you're here on the street? How come you're here out on the street? You first. There's not a lot to tell. I used to live in Philly. We had a fair-sized family, me, my brother, and one sister. I'm the middle one. My older brother was a big jock, and I didn't follow in his footsteps. I acted in all the class plays at school and thought that's what I wanted to do. That didn't sit well with my family. Then the kids at school started giving me the business about being a fairy, calling me the African queen. Shit, every stud in that school was sucked off at one time or another, but I got caught at it. It was a big goddamn mess. My mama starts calling out to Jesus, and my old man tells me he's gonna bust my head. I cried and aloud as how I'd change and go straight and all that shit. Damn, didn't I get this girl pregnant? Well, that's what they wanted, wasn't it? It didn't change anything for me. I still wanted men. She's a nice girl and all that. I could have lived with her and had kids if I could have kept seeing men. But you know how that is. People are so dumb. You fuck a little with a member of the opposite sex and you got your straight credentials in order. Hell, well, Mom and Dad were after me, so now I gotta marry this girl. I ain't marrying no girl. So I ran away and here I am. I've been here for about a month. I do think about that girl. Her name's Pat. But I ain't going back there and marrying her. He paused for a minute, then asked me, Do you think I'm a shit for leaving her? It does sort of leave her up shit creek without a paddle, Calvin. She's the one stuck with the kid, and you take off scot-free. Yeah, I know. But if I go back there and marry her, then I have to get a job and have my brains ground out like everybody else. My old man is a school teacher. He thinks he's really something because he's better than some janitor, you know. But he ain't so hot. He goes to work like everyone else, and when he walks on the street, he's a nigger like anyone else. He's blind in one eye and can't see out the other. I'm not about to do that number. When all this happened, did you talk to Pat about an abortion? Sure I did. She screamed and carried on about how that was murder, and here was the fruit of our love. I nearly threw up on that one. Girl's got no sense. She thinks motherhood's gonna make her a natural woman or something. Wait until that little beast starts crying in the middle of the night. She'll wish she'd listened to me. She was determined that I'd marry her and settle down and we'd have a picture book family and get photographed for Ebony someday. Shit. And I guess she'll learn the hard way. I'm glad you tried to change her mind. But maybe that's all she's got. You know how some girls are. They think there's nothing until they get married and have a baby. So now she's getting her baby. Although, minus the marriage bit. Why are you here? You haven't told me your story. I recounted my tales of horror. Damn, they get you going and they get you coming, don't they? Looks like nobody wants their queers. Not the whites, not the blacks. I bet even the Chinese don't want their queers. I don't much care about what any of them want, Calvin. I just care about what I want. The hell with all of them. Yeah, that's what I think too. Hey, the sun's coming up. I hope Chockfull opens early today. Don't forget, I'm looking for an apartment today. You want to come? You know what I'm going to do today? I'm going out there on the turnpike and hitch to California. I mean it. If you could hitch up here from Florida, I can hitch out to San Francisco. Come on with me. I would. This is going to sound weird, Calvin, but something tells me I have to stay in this ugly city for a while. I don't know how long, but I have to be here. It's like I'll make my fortune here or something. Remember those old children's stories where the young son goes out on the road for adventure and to make his fortune after he's been cheated out of his inheritance by his evil brothers? Yeah, I sort of remember those. Puss in Boots kind of thing. Yeah, kind of like that. Well, I'm going to San Francisco for mine. Finally, Chockfull opened and our waitress supplied us with goodies. We both took a long time dunking our donuts because neither one of us wanted to start out on that day. But we had to pry ourselves off the thinly padded stools. On the street, we looked at each other, then slowly stretched out our right hands. It was a very formal handshake, almost like a ritual. Then we wished each other good luck and went off in the opposite directions to seek our fortunes. And that was chapter 11 of Rubyfruit Jungle. What do you think of this chapter? And what do you think of the new format? Now, I'm hoping that this actually uploads. I'm using GarageBand. Who knows? We'll see. I hope this works. But what do you think about Calvin and the grapefruit guy? And what do you think about when Molly had to learn about Butch and Femme at the bar? I think it's kind of interesting that she knows what she is, but she still has a lot about the culture to learn. Do you think that she'll really grasp lesbian culture in New York? Let me know what you guys think about this chapter, and thank you so much for listening and being patient. Again, I apologize for the weirdness of the last video. I hope that this is a big improvement. And if this video actually uploads and works and all that, maybe I'll stick with this format in the future. Thanks for listening, guys, and have a wonderful day.